I got it! Mukuro's body was probably kept hidden in the biolab.
Biolab? You mean on the 5th floor?
That's right. It's actually set up for use as a morgue, so it's the perfect place to hide a body. And it...
Then you're also saying the body was moved from the biolab to the garden.
And I have no doubt that that's exactly what happened. In fact, I have proof. I got it! What makes me so sure the body was carried from the biolab to the garden is... the tarp that we found in the garden. When I was checking it over again, I noticed something. I noticed that some text had been stamped on one corner of the tarp.
Oh, it says biolab.
Holy cow! How'd you notice that tiny little thing?
Makoto's nitpicky nature seems to have surfaced with perfect timing.
This proves that the tarp originally came from the biolab. In fact, there's a whole stack of tarps just like it in there.
So when the killer moved the body to the garden, they must have grabbed a tarp to wrap it in. Then they simply left it as it was to protect against the sprinklers, and put the coat on it afterwards.
You made everything sound so amazingly consistent.
But that's just a wild guess! Where's your evidence? Prove that the body was wrapped in a tarp and moved!
There is no evidence. I was simply explaining what I think happened. But you seem to be getting pretty worked up about it, wouldn't you say?
Worked up?
Now that the conversation has turned to the topic of the biolab, you must be getting pretty nervous. Because the key to uncovering your secret identity is hidden within that room, isn't it?
Are you talking about unmasking the mastermind?
You see, the biolab contained an inconsistency. One so major it can't be overlooked.
La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la.
Such a child. Oh well, just ignore him.
Hey, by the way, Makoto, what about that one thing?
What one thing?
Your family. Don't tell me you forgot about that video message. So what do you think? Are you sure your family's still okay?
Why are you bringing that up now?
Your mom, your dad, your little sister. What do you think has happened to your family? Are they really as safe as you might have assumed?
Stop talking about that!
Calm down, Makoto. He wants you to get upset.
Are you? Sure about this? Are you sure about this? What? What do you want? Are you sure about this? 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 What? What do you want? Are you sure about this? 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 What? What do you want?
I refuse to give up yet!
Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? What? What do you want? Are you sure about this? 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 What? What do you want? Are you sure about this? 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 about this? Proof! Are you sure about this? I'm not listening!
This should prove it. The inconsistency Kyoko's talking about is the lights.
What are you talking about?
Like I said before, the biolab also acts as a morgue. And as part of that, a giant refrigerator was installed in there. That's where everyone who's died is stored.
And it was set up so that when a slot had a body in it, a blue light would turn on.
In other words, if the blue light is on, that means there's a body in that slot.
But I counted up the number of blue lights that were on, including the one Mukuro was in, and there were only 9.
Why does that matter? You gotta give me the bite-sized version here, man.
I got it! 10 of the lights should have been on. Any other number is incredibly suspicious.
Suspicious? Why?
That's simple. Just recall who's died here so far, and it should become clear.
So 10 people in all?
That's right. Any other number should make you immediately suspicious. But according to the lights in the biolab, only 9 people were being stored there.
You're saying a dead body just up and disappeared?
I got it! The mastermind destroyed one of the bodies to get rid of evidence.
But if they wanted to do that, they would have destroyed Mukuro's body, since they actually killed her. And yet, her body was left alone.
Then, whose body disappeared?
It may very well be that none of them disappeared.
But if that's true, then why doesn't the body count match?
Including Monokuma's executions, there have apparently been 10 deaths, but there were only 9 bodies. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm completely lost. How can the number of victims be less than the number of murders?
Shoot! I got it! What about if the same person was killed twice? Officially, 10 murders have been committed so far, but one of the victims may have been murdered, and then murdered again.
Murdered and murdered again?
If that's the case, there could have been 10 killings, but still only 9 victims.
Technically, you're right, I guess. But still, something like that.
Could easily have happened. No, it is what happened.
Sounds like you're already convinced. Then can you tell us who was killed twice?
It was Mukuro, of course. Before she was killed as Mukuro Ikusaba, she was killed as someone else.
And that's why the body had to be stored in the biolab until the moment we found it in the garden.
No, that's crazy talk. She was killed as someone else? Come on! Besides, who could that someone else even have been?
All you have to do is look at those bodily injuries of hers, and that will become obvious.
Nothing's gonna become obvious, because Kyoko's totally delusional! Who is this someone else that Mukuro was killed as? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima? Leon Kuwata?
Chihiro Manja, Kiyotaki Fumi,
Celestia Lu? Or maybe
Sakura.
No, there's no way anyone was murdered twice! Who is this someone else that Mukuro? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima? Leon Kuwata?
Chihiro Manja, Kiyotaki Fumi, Celestial.
Or maybe Sakura Ogami? No. There's no way anyone was murdered.
No, that's wrong. Junko, wasn't her fatal injury pretty similar to Mukuro's?
What do you mean?
Well, remember what happened to her? She was impaled by a bunch of spears, all over her body.
And Mukuro died from a number of wounds across her body. When you compare that to the stab wounds Junko suffered...
And the similarities match?
Yes, and those are the only fatal injuries that match up. That explains why those two bodies are actually one and the same.
So let me see if I have this straight. Junko, or someone going by that. Then her body was kept in the biolab for however long before being dragged out again. Only this time, it was presented as the corpse of one Mukuro Ikusaba.
It all matches up, right? Those wounds Junko suffered could easily be these same injuries.
It's really true? Mukuro and Junko are the same person? Wait, so then... what does it all mean?
It means that there haven't been 10 victims, but 9, which also means that among the people we thought were dead, one is still alive.
And that's the true identity of the mastermind?
Who is it? Who's behind all this?
We already know the answer to that. It's Mukuro. She's still alive. She took Junko's body and made it look like she was the one who died. So Mukuro is still alive. She's gotta be. Total silence? Then I must be right. The body we found in the garden, it wasn't Mukuro.
Then she's still alive?
That's right. She made it look like Junko's body was her. So the mastermind's true identity is Mukuro.
What do you say, Monokuma? Do you give up?
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
Then she's still alive?
That's right. She made it look like Junko's body was her. So the Mastermind's true identity is Mukuro.
What do you say, Monokuma? Do you give up?
The body we found, it wasn't Mukuro.
Then she's still alive?
That's right. So the
Mastermind's true identity is Mukuro.
Shoot!
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
Then she's still alive?
That's right. She made it look like Junko's body was her. So the Mastermind's true identity is Mukuro.
What do you say, Monokuma? Do you give up?
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
Shoot! I refuse to give up yet!
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
No, that's wrong! No, the body we found in the garden was Mukuro. That's one thing we can be sure of. The body's appearance and measurements are consistent with her records. Right, Kyoko?
She was 5 foot 6 inches tall and weighed 97 pounds. Everything in her profile is consistent with that corpse.
And then there's the matter of the Fenrir tattoo.
But
Here's my answer. Junko is still alive. It's the only possibility.
Are you sure about that?
Huh?
I admit, since Mukuro is undoubtedly dead, Junko does seem to be the only other explanation. But we saw her get impaled. She died right before our very eyes. If Junko were still alive, the death we saw would had to have been some kind of charade. But you yourself confirmed she was dead, did you not?
She was dead. There's no question. Junko was dead.
So, the idea that she's still alive.
It must be wrong.
then you're withdrawing your previous statement?
I know you gave it your best shot, but too bad. I guess your conclusion was a dud. Too bad, too bad.
This case hasn't been decided just yet.
Oh?
You haven't given up already, have you, Makoto?
No, of course not. There's no way I'd give up that easy.
That's all well and good, but how do you intend to solve the problem standing in your way? Junko absolutely died. Mukuro absolutely died.
Then both of them are dead, right? There can't be any kind of survivor story.
I think we need to look at this from the opposite direction.
Huh? The opposite direction?
Let's assume Junko is still alive. If so, how could she have survived?
Now I understand. That's it. What if she switched places with someone else?
Switched places?
That's right. Before the spears could kill her, she got someone to take her place. Specifically, Mukuro Ikusaba.
Then that would make it Mukuro's corpse that showed up later.
Which is why the body's height and weight and everything match Mukuro's profile, right?
I don't know anything about this switching places thing, but... that had to be Junko who got stabbed to death, right?
Yeah, you're saying they switched? When could they even have done that? Right when she was about to die? Like she used some kind of ninja replacement technique?
Good point. There's... Just no way they could have switched like that, so maybe the whole idea is wrong.
I got it! The two of them may have switched places from the very beginning.
What? From the beginning?
Yes, from the moment we first met. If that's when they switched, then they wouldn't have had to switch at the moment of death, right? After all, the one we saw at that point would have already been Mukuro.
Hold on. So, you're saying the Junko we first met was actually Mukuro all along?
Then we'd already met her?
I had, like, a normal conversation with her.
When we first met, none of us knew who anyone else was. So Mukuro could have simply told us her name was Junko, and we never would have known the difference. That would easily allow the two of them to switch places from the very beginning.
Wait, but Mukuro had a tattoo on the back of her hand. Junko never had any tattoo like that, did she?
She could have hidden it with foundation or something like that. If she did, it likely melted away in the explosion, exposing the tattoo after the body was extinguished. Plus, there were the fake nails found on the hands of Mukuro's body. They were the same fake red nails she was wearing when we all met for the first time.
But if she really did use foundation...
Correct. Even if there was no tattoo on her hand, I couldn't say for certain it wasn't Mukuro. So I'm glad nobody noticed that glaring hole when we were trying to figure out who attacked Makoto.
But too bad for you, Monokuma. You can't deny it anymore.
Wait, so this whole thing was a setup from the very beginning?
If that's true, it was quite an elaborate plan to be sure, making it look like Mukuro was Junko.
The reason such an elaborate plan was possible is because the two of them were working together.
So Mukuro, the ultimate despair, teamed up with someone like her. In other words, it would be fair to say that Junko herself was also the ultimate despair.
What's wrong? Lost the will to fight back?
I think he's just afraid.
Afraid? What's that mean, afraid? Fear is only possible where hope is possible. I only have despair, so fear is an alien concept to me.
Then why haven't you been saying anything?
Because it's a bunch of nonsense. Junko's my secret identity? As if.
Then why did you try and protect Junko's real identity?
I tried to protect her identity? When did I do that?
Shoot! Shoot! I refuse to give up yet! The two of them... What? Yeah, then they wouldn't have had to switch... After all...
Hold on. was actually Mukuro all along?
I had...
And we never would have...
I think he...
I got it! While I was in the AV room, watching the DVD of our interviews with the headmaster. You made sure I couldn't finish watching the video. And the reason you did that is because you didn't want me to see the real Junko.
Oh, yeah! If everyone was in that video, of course Junko would have had to show up.
And if Makoto saw the real Junko, it would have been totally obvious that the Junko we met was an imposter.
That whole power outage thing was just a fluke! Punishment is waiting for you. I'm not listening. What are you even talking about? Punishment is waiting for you. I'm not listening. What are you even talking about? That's impossible! Punishment is waiting for you. I'm not listening. What are you even talking about? That's impossible!
This should prove it. The video wasn't the only thing you tried to cover up. You did the same thing with this group photo.
Uh-oh.
I noticed it just a little while ago, when we were all comparing the photos we'd gotten. In all the photos, there's a certain similarity, an unusual circumstance.
What's so unusual about them?
Shoot! I got it! Junko's face. The one thing common to every single photo is that you can't see her face. It's hard to believe her face would just happen to be hidden in every single picture, don't you think? And on top of that, in this photo, you can see that Mukuro is clearly visible. So in other words, at that point, the two of them hadn't switched yet. With all that in mind, there's no doubt that the girl whose face is hidden here is the real Junko, which is why you had to have pictures that didn't show her face. Because if we could have seen her face, then it would have clearly revealed that the Junko in the pictures wasn't the Junko that we knew.
Xanadu!
I believe everything Makoto said is true. Junko and Mukuro switched places before we met either of them.
So she killed Mukuro, who had taken her place, making it look like she'd died. And the real Junko is still alive.
And she's the one behind this whole murderous situation. This killing game. She's the true mastermind and the ultimate despair.
Xanadu times 2!
With this, the identity and the crimes of the mastermind have been exposed.
No, wait, hold on!
Don't bother trying to deny it. There's no more room for debate. You don't have anywhere left to run. I'll prove everything. Right now! The killer is you! We met the ultimate fashionista, Junko Enoshima, right after we all arrived here. But that wasn't the real Junko. The girl we saw before us was actually the 16th student who had taken Junko's place. And that girl's name was Mukuro Ito. But it wasn't long before she died at the hands of Monokuma, Junko Enoshima. Her body was kept in a biolab, which had been converted into a morgue, until Junko decided to put her body to use. Junko dragged the body out of the biolab, using the tarp to carry her to the garden. She fabricated the murder to try and frame Kyoko, who'd proven to be one big thorn in her side. Meanwhile, she wanted us all to think Mukuro was still alive and hiding somewhere inside the school. So she put on a mask and then attacked me. After making sure I'd gotten a good look at the mask, she left the room. Then she put the same mask on Mukuro's body. This was all to make us think the person who attacked me and the corpse were one and the same. She wanted us to believe the murder had only recently taken place. Finally, by strapping a bomb to the body, she was able to destroy any remaining evidence. She needed to hide the body's true identity. She had to make sure we didn't find out it was actually the same person we'd met in the beginning. This is the truth behind Mukuro's murder. And the one who carried it all out is the true mastermind. The one controlling Monokuma. The real Junko Enoshima! That's the whole story behind this incident. Well, what do you have to say to that?
What? Are you broken again?
You can't get out of this, so don't even try.
Come on! It's time you finally revealed yourself!
It's not like you're an endangered species or something. How long do you plan to keep hiding?
Give it up, Junko. The game's over.
Over? Did you really think the story would end once we reached the climax of the case? Wrong! There's still plenty more to go!
We have been waiting so very long for peasants like you to appear. If you swear your fealty to us, we will reward you with half of the entire world! We've even drawn up the deed already! We will grant you honor, status, in some of our home cooking! Have you made your choice? Will you serve under us?
Oh, did you think I was being serious? Sorry, I was just messing with you. It's been so long since I've had an audience. Even I'm not sure what kind of role I'm supposed to play. Anyway, looks like I've finally been set free. Having to play Monokuma all the time, day after day, it was like I was stuck in purgatory. Or like a slow suicide. I get bored so easy, you know?
Your face!
Huh? What about my face? What's wrong with my beautiful face? People have told me I'm cuter than 100 chihuahuas combined.
I feel like This isn't the first time I've seen you.
I got it! That's right! It was before I ever came to this school. I remember seeing a magazine cover. And you were on it!
Wow, you have a pretty good memory. I guess that's why you've made it this far, huh?
So I was right. Then what you told me in the main hall when this all began...
Sometimes a little lie is necessary to keep things moving along. Wouldn't you agree?
That explains why she didn't quite seem the same. Because she was a different person all along.
I'm me. And Mukuro is Mukuro. She tried her best. But there's just no way she could have passed as the ultimate fashionista. Two people can never become one as long as the walls of mind and body exist. Not even if they're twins.
Twins?
I know, it's such a cliche, right? I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. So basically, Mukuro and I had your stereotypical twin relationship. The older sister, tough and proud. That was Mukuro. The younger sister, smart and cute. That was...
Me! Junko fucking Enoshima! And together, we were the Despair Sisters, aka the Ultimate Despair!
She's a totally different person now!
Like I said, I get bored easy as hell! I even get fucking bored with myself! But if you're twins, why do you have different last names? Oh, that again? You have any idea how many times people ask me that shit? Maybe it's new to your dumb ass, but it bores me to tears. Answering the same questions over and over? Just make up whatever answer you want, I don't give a shit! The truth's fucking lame anyway!
But if she was your twin, that means...
And for reasons deeper and darker than the ocean! Ha! As if!
Well, I suppose I'd better explain. For my plan to work, someone had to be able to control the killing game from behind the scenes. The so-called mastermind had to operate Monokuma, keep an eye on everyone, things like that. But after looking at the situation, I determined it would be impossible for Mukuro to perform such duties. Because naturally, she turned out to be the letdown of the family, leaving me behind to run off and join some band of mercenaries. Such a disappointment. So, I decided to play the role of director and have her join the rest of you in your school life. I could have let her work alongside me, but she would have been useless to me that way. Besides, 15 students seemed like a solid number to start with. Of course, the fact that she was the ultimate soldier posed something of a problem. She had what I call the 3 atrocities.
Atrociously rank, atrociously filthy, atrociously repulsive. It was atrociously clear just how out of touch she was with the rest of society. Meanwhile, my ultimate fashionista status has an undeniable appeal that I didn't want to go to waste.
And that's why you switched identities?
Sadly, her inability to match my personality was even greater than I'd calculated. She was nothing more than a bit player, an extra unworthy of lines. Being the utter disappointment that she was, anyone would have expected her to get killed off right away. Which is precisely why I killed her, to meet everyone's expectations.
Can't be your only reason, can it?
Well, no, of course not. I also did it to avoid becoming bored.
I've never been a stickler for following a plan to the letter, you know? If I planned everything out and knew just what was gonna happen, that'd be so boring. So, I changed things just a bit and decided to use Mukuro to make a little point.
In other words, Mukuro's death was a one-sided, premeditated act of betrayal. Just as I suspected. When Mukuro was killed, she must have been as surprised as anybody else.
So, you figured it out? Well, you're right! There's no way Mukuro could have pulled off such a convincing performance. But she did teach you all a very valuable lesson, don't you think?
How can you talk like that? You sacrificed your own sister. How does that not even bother you?
What? I sacrificed her? That's what's got you so hot under the collar? Jeez, misunderstandings sure are scary. We were the ultimate despair, you know? So we never had any kind of hope or expectations. Nope, I felt despair as long as I can remember. Like I never should have been born at all. When I was born, I cried tears of total despair. So that's why for us, it's not a big deal whether we die or kill. We're just those kinds of people. We can do anything. We've always been filled with despair. So when we do something, we go all the way and live without regret.
So you just murdered your own sister and didn't think anything of it?
That's not true at all. We were twins. How could I not be sad? That's why it gets me so excited.
Huh?
Killing my precious sister with my own two hands. That act is filled with so much despair. You can't help but put a super in front of it.
It's like super, 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 super despair. No, more than that. Super, 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 super despair. It just feels so good.
What the hell is wrong with you?
And my sister, too. In that moment of death, I think she must have felt that despair. After all, to be murdered by your own sister, and only as an example to someone else. She must have died feeling such excruciating hopelessness. I'm so jealous of her. Super jealous.
I knew you couldn't be just some ordinary person. You're some kind of abnormality.
Turning your own despair into some kind of fetish. Abnormality doesn't even begin to describe it.
Like, Genocide Jill is crazy for sure, but this is a whole nother level of nuts!
You're saying I don't compare to some lowly beast that can only kill the weak, right? So I'm hopelessly attractive, hopelessly brilliant, hopelessly athletic. I'm the hopelessly perfect ultimate human.
No. I don't think there's anything perfect about anything you just said.
Yeah, Master's way more perfect. Because on top of everything else, he's got that noble blood.
Don't you mean had that noble blood?
What did you just say? What do you mean by that?
You still haven't figured that part out yet? Man, you guys are so slow! You haven't even solved all the mysteries, and yet here you are, yapping away!
Are you talking about our memories?
You've already solved this mystery, right? I'm the killer! So how about the next one? Maybe you should solve the riddle of your missing memories. Then you can start gloating!
Damn straight! That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to solve all these mysteries, and then we'll have our victory!
I can't wait!
Alright, then let's just get straight to the point. What memories did you steal from us?
When the group pictures were taken, and those interviews, it must mean... I got it! It must have something to do with our entrancing exams.
Don't fair! At least give us a hint!
Your brains are like sponges, all drippy and leaky. I already gave you a hint before. All the memories you lost share something in common with a few other things. Do you recall?
I got it! You're talking about the motives you provided to try and get us to kill each other, right?
So you do remember after all. Well, I would hope you wouldn't forget something so important. It was stupid of me to even ask. I apologize from the bottom of my heart for my bad manners. So then, let me ask you another question. Did you notice that each motive I presented you had a specific theme to it?
Theme?
Yep, you got it. So that's my question to you all. When Sayaka was murdered, what was the theme of the motive I presented?
Shoot! I got it! The driving force behind the motive you presented us with at that point was
Ding, ding, ding. You got it. Remember those DVDs I gave you guys? Each video showed the total destruction of your most important relationships. For example, your family. For example, your friends. I ruined all those relationships and showed you the results. It was to motivate your desire to escape and kickstart your urge to kill. But still, what a cruel thing to do.
You're the one that did it!
Yes, well, I'm perfectly happy to accept your disapproval.
Okay! Time for the next question! So, what was the theme for the second motive?
Shoot! I got it! It was...
Yay! Makoto got it right again! That time, the theme was... embarrassing memories and secrets! Yeah! And the whole reason Mondo did what he did was to protect his secret.
So, how long do you plan on dragging this out?
Relax, relax. Okay, on to the next question. So, what was the motive for the third murder?
I got it! It was money, wasn't it? Greed.
Seek and destroy! Hell yeah, you got it again! Goddamn straight it was money! Celeste killed Hifumi and Taka for a little personal gain. Her greed led to all kinds of death and destruction.
What's the point of all this? Why are you making us go through this case by case?